As someone's closed captioning this, there's angrily sets down coffee cup. Or maybe frustrated. Welcome to another video. Allow me to pull up my YouTube channel page and read the tagline in the About section. Mostly focused on daily life as a disabled guy, this channel may not be for everyone. But if you like random adventures, angry rants, and lots of unusual BS, get ready. This is life as it happens, no sugar added. Today, that's exactly what's going on. So, we'll get into, all will be explained in the video, but this is kind of a day in the life. This was my day today. The snow has melted, and it is currently, how warm outside? Currently 42 outside, the answer to everything in life. But it's been like high 50s overnight, you know, things are going good, the ice has melted. Only problem is, it's been raining like crazy, and there's insane winds, and trees are literally blowing over out here. Oh, well there you go. There's a sign of how much wind has been going on. That just happened in the last 5 minutes. Bye, tree. Hope you find your dad. But, all that being said, I had to go to a police station today. Now, I've explained some of this previously. I'm in this really weird scenario with my driver's license, and I wasn't able to renew it because the DMV was closed. We'll get into that later. I'll explain it all. But today was my adventure running around in the insane weather and dealing with all that. If you're not aware of the story, in the first part of the video here, I'm going to replay the stream, or the section of the stream, where I explain the situation. It takes 7.5 minutes to explain it. That's how complicated it is. So anyways, I got the GoPro Max 360 camera, stuck it in the van. Don't worry, there's no crazy fishbowl camera angles. But I drove out there, took care of that stuff, made my way back, and this is the story of today. Stick around to the end. I actually have some more thoughts at the end of the video, kind of explaining all this. So yeah. If you watch the whole video, make sure you watch my explanation at the end as well, because I have a lot of thoughts about this and things I would like to clarify. So anyways, without further ado, let's drive into some chaos! Okay, so we're getting like 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and looks like there's a tree down over the road up here.
Most of them involving Southwest Airlines.
Does that say road closed? Yeah, road closed. What the hell? How is this supposed to work? Okay, this trip is going to be obnoxious. Already been 2 roads that are closed because of downed trees and power lines and stuff. So it rained like 2 inches overnight, and now we're getting like 50-60 mile-an-hour wind gusts. So lots of trees are falling over, and it takes most of my concentration to keep this thing between the lines and this wind. There's tree garbage everywhere. So you may be wondering, Dan, why are you driving around in this garbage right now? Well, that's easy. This one police department in a small town nearby is trying to take away my driver's license. So I've got to go deal with some of that right now. It's that whole thing with the DMVs being closed and having to get appointments. And I explained it on a live stream. Well, apparently I am. I have to go to traffic court. I don't remember if I mentioned it in a previous video or not, but so DMV here has been screwed up for a long time because of the worldwide weirdness. And my license expired a couple months ago, or however long ago that's been now. And I went to the DMV and they were closed. They had just shut down half the offices in the state. So I was like, okay. So I went there like a week in advance before my license expired. And then, or was it just after? I don't remember. Sometime close though. And I called the DMV and they're like, oh yeah, sure, here's an appointment. And it was 2.5 months out. I was like, my license will be very much expired by the time I get to the DMV. And they're like, don't worry about it. Cops aren't doing anything about that right now. It's not a primary offense, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, are you sure? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, my trip permit is also expiring because I hadn't registered the van yet. And they're like, same deal. Just leave it in the window so the police have something to run that links the vehicle to you. I'm like, okay. So wait the 2.5 months for the appointment. The day of, I get an email saying the appointment was canceled. So I went to the DMV anyways, and they said, sorry, we're not taking anyone unless you have an appointment. It's like, okay. So I called and made another appointment. It was another about 2.5 months for that appointment. In the meanwhile, I got pulled over by a dyslexic police officer, I believe, who transposed some numbers as he was typing in, I'm not saying that in a bad way, but he was typing in the trip permit number in my back window. So I get pulled over by 3 cop cars, and it's raining outside and all this stuff. And he comes up and they start to do a felony stop, and then they see it's a guy in a wheelchair, I think. I don't know. They didn't have me throw the keys outside or anything. But they're like, hey, whose van is this? I'm like, mine? And they're like, that trip permit doesn't match the vehicle. I'm like, pretty sure it does. So he got all my info and stuff. And then he mysteriously never mentioned that again. And then at some point later on, he was like, oh yeah, it's registered to you. I'm like, okay. But it's kind of like, well, while we're here, and the one time I left, because I was going to run to the warehouse and back, and I got in the van and I didn't have my backpack. My wallet's in my backpack, so I didn't have my license on me. I know all the info, so I gave it to him. He's like, yeah, so you're expired. I was like, I know. And I had the printout from the DMV showing the date of my appointment. And he's like, yeah, no, the DMV's open. You can just walk in. The officer said, I went to the DMV with my girlfriend yesterday, and it was no problem. And I'm like, I did not know that. I was doing what the DMV told me to do. So anyways, I got written tickets. Got wrote tickets, whatever. Which, I just sent the citation off to the lawyer before the stream started. It said the fine was $935. That's gotta be incorrect. That seems like a lot. But the plot thickens. So, the officer lets me go from the traffic stop. He didn't tow my van or anything, and didn't make me get out, which was nice because it was raining. And I was like, I'm gonna go to DMV right now and fix this. He's like, yeah, okay, whatever. But I did. I went straight to the DMV, got a new license. Somehow I got him to give me one without having my old one, or any sort of proof of my identity whatsoever. But I got my license, went back to that police station, went to the front desk, and I'm like, hey, I need to talk to this officer. They call him in, he comes in, and I'm like, here's my license and here's the paperwork. Because with tickets like that, because he wrote it for operating a vehicle without driving privileges, which I'm not going to get into that thing. That sentence angers me in multiple ways. But anyways, he's like, okay, if you don't think you're guilty, you should talk to the judge. I'm like, and I'm trying to politely figure out how to like tell him this is not how this normally works. Because I have a background with doing similar stuff, and you know, if we ever wrote citations for that sort of thing and someone immediately went and fixed it, or even like if it was the next day or the same week, usually you just void the ticket and everyone goes on their merry way. So I go to the arraignment, and this particular city is different. You have to actually show up and talk to the judge, not the court clerk or anything like that. Because a lot of times in other cities, if you show up and like, here's my license, and you're written for not having one, the clerk will dismiss it. But in this city, they can't do that. Problem being, back in like 2013 or something, Oregon changed some laws that basically takes all of the power away from circuit court judges. And they are actually not able to dismiss most tickets. They don't have the power to do it. So I march in there and start explaining the situation. And the judge is like, I got to stop you there. I can't hear any of this unless the officer is present. And I kind of managed to get things in edgewise that I did get it fixed, and I did go talk to the officer and all this. And the judge was like, okay, well, I would recommend that you reach out to that officer and talk to him, because it sounds like you got this taken care of. And he's the only one that has the power to dismiss this, and that's typically the way this works. And I was like, I don't want to overstep here or anything, but I already did talk to him, and he told me to come talk to you. I said, like, is it a problem if I contact him again? She's like, I would contact the officer. So I did. Left him a couple of voicemails, no response. So I got a trial date set now, and I was looking up the penalties for it. There's a mandatory 180-day suspension if you're convicted for that. And apparently I'm going to show up to court with a judge that doesn't have the power to dismiss it, and an officer that, for whatever reason, decided he's not going to... So there's typical practices, there's the law, and there's like administrative rules. Technically, yes, I was breaking the law. However, the worldwide weirdness made things strange. It put me in a position to where I was not actually able to follow the law. And that agency that was responsible for that, I was listening to what they were saying. So I don't want to be that, hey, let's blame the pandemic person, but that's kind of what happened. So anyways, I realized with a 180-day suspension on the table and a judge that can't do anything and the officer that whatever's going on there, I was like, I'm not going to get a lawyer. Like, my living situation is impossible if I can't drive. And if that suspension gets put on my license, it's a Class B felony to operate a vehicle in the state of Oregon after that's happened. So it's not like I could just drive anyways. So this is going to cost a bunch of money. Yeah, right to travel. Like I said, I'm not going to get into the whole driving privilege thing. That's a whole other thing, which Peter Griffin say that really grinds my gears. Okay, let me read chat here. So that's what's going on right now, and this is probably going to be like $600 or $1,000 or something. So yeah, good times. Okay, reading chat. I have to go out right now and reset my court date. Well, the plan is I'm going to go to the police station. I'm going to try and talk to that officer one more time who's not responding to my calls anymore, because the judge told me to. It's a whole thing, but yeah, I have to go out today because the court date's coming up, and oh man, this weather. And I have to reset it 3 days in writing. So anyways, the plan is to try and talk to the officer. If I can't do that, I'm going to requisition the body footage, because it technically was not a legal traffic stop. So I'm going to do that, and then on the way back, I've found an attorney finally that's going to help me out with this. So hopefully, in an ideal scenario, the officer will talk to me and do what the judge said he was supposed to do and just dismiss the whole thing, because I got it taken care of within an hour. So anyways, this is gonna be a long drive. Okay, so this drive-thru is super backed up, and I'm gonna go inside. But another main reason of that is I had to do some evasive traffic maneuvers back there in my chair. Moved a little bit. I didn't have my tie downs quite tight, so I have to stop and readjust anyway, so I might as well go inside. Oh man. And now we've got the power outages. Huh. This is a sketchy area without traffic lights. Heads on a swivel, boys. Alright, well, I guess we're not going this way. Once again, I'm really glad I've had so many delivery jobs in this town. Most of these weird little backstreet neighborhoods I know very well. Oh man. I don't know how many times I've taken this shortcut over the years. right, well, the officer wasn't available and isn't going to be for another week till after my court date. So we're taking evasive actions. I requisitioned the body camera footage. The lady told me, though, that a lot of times they don't save it. So if nothing else, well, and I also reset my court date. So this all is going to do one of two things. One, it's going to basically say, hey, this guy is not going to let you push him around. Or it's going to make everything a lot worse. So, yeah, I'm hoping for the previous one, but court date's been canceled. They're going to schedule a new one. So now I've got some time at least to go hire a freaking lawyer. Apparently the base rate for that is like $700. This is just one of those things. It's like, what are we doing? I'm not even gonna get into it. So I got some food with me. I'm gonna eat here real quick and then figure out what I'm doing here. I'm just, yeah. Okay, plan now is to go back outside, firmly lodge myself into traffic and flooding and down trees and traffic lights didn't work, and grab some pellets for the pellet stove because I used my last bag last night. So we're gonna do that, and then I'm waiting on a call back from a lawyer. I don't think I'm meeting with them today, but I got the necessary paperwork filed at the courthouse, so that's all good. So yeah, let's head back and see what happens. So I'm trying to decide if I should take the freeway back because the surface streets are so screwed up. But I'm thinking that the service streets might be better because if something happens on the highway and it has to be closed or whatever, there isn't really a way to escape from that and you could be trapped there potentially for hours. So I think service streets it is. The things that run through my mind. Okay, I am really glad I did not take the freeway. I'm kind of paralleling the freeway right now. But yeah, it looks like the power's on in this area. So we're gonna stop and get some gas a haul. What is it here? $4.19 a gallon. This gas station's usually a little bit on the high side, but I think this is a scenario where we're just gonna buy the fuel where we can, because as I get further out of town, it's highly likely that we won't have power, and thus no functioning fuel pumps. That probably won't reach, will it? Well, here, I can pull forward a tiny bit. Good? Okay, cool. You guys still having those card reader problems?
No, the cards are working, but this is not working. Yeah, it's not working. I don't know if it's a card or it's a system.
When this happens, it usually works inside.
Oh, it works inside.
Can you take it in, or?
Yeah, I can take it inside.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. Cool. I didn't have to get out of the van. Yeah, so my card has a $125 limit per transaction. And when I've been having to fill up the other green van before that thing got parked, sometimes that wouldn't be enough. Gas prices are crazy. It didn't fill it all the way. So he's not going to take my card in a second time. I don't want to get out of the van, so we at least have enough fuel to do something. So I think the plan's going to be when I get further out of town, if I find a functioning gas station, I'll just stop there and finish filling this thing up. And we have engaged delivery mode again. We are crossing over the freeway. A random screen door laying on the side of the road. Wonder if that was intentional. So we're driving around that closed area, or one of them anyways, but there's some really interesting, incredibly steep roads up here, and pavement's not very good. So if you notice up ahead here, it looks like this road drops off the face of the earth, and it kind of does. This isn't even the steep part yet, though. So if you ever wanted to jump and wreck your car, this is the place to do it. Look at this. There's like little plateaus at each intersection with like an 18-degree drop on each side. Even these transitions right here, I've got to go a little bit sideways to keep my front bumper from hitting the ground. And the pavement, or concrete here, gets really bad. Now this transition right here is the worst one of the whole thing. Let's see. Take this at a little bit of an angle. Alright, there we go. Huge tires on a minivan for the win. Apparently, all the weather has knocked out the radio station. Pleasing static. By the way, if you've never heard of Waze, it's W-A-Z-E. It's an app for Android and iPhones that is sort of a crowdsourced, well, it is 100% crowdsourced traffic information. And it is super handy in traffic conditions like this. And there's a ton of people that use it in major metropolitan areas. Ugh, words. So like around here in Portland, you can see there's other people that are driving around and they leave reports like, you know, hey, the road's flooded here, or there's a traffic signal that's out, or you can see that the traffic is stopped for 16 miles. But yeah, check it out. It was actually, I think it was back in 2013 or 14, somewhere in there. There was an Israeli company that originally designed and built the app and released it to all the app stores. And apparently, I don't know if it's changed by now, but as of about 5 years ago, that app was the most expensive app acquisition that had been made. Google wanted to buy it, and the company that built it was like, no, it's not for sale. And Google's team of loopy lawyers came back and said there was some obscure rule where if you had an app, or there was some way that basically they were able to force them to come up with a price for it. So I don't know what the numbers were, but it was something insane. They're like, okay, $100 million, or, you know, something insane like that. And Google's like, okay, here's your check. And they bought it. A little bit of flooding there, backed up drains. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. But yeah, check it out, Waze. Really cool app. All crowdsourced data. So if you see there's traffic and stuff, it's because there's other people using it. I don't know in other parts of the country if it's as popular as it is around here, but I've always said it's better than a radar detector when you're in town, because you can submit reports for police and all kinds of different road conditions. So anyways, there you go.
The possibilities are endless.
So with all the insanity that went on downtown over the last couple of years, there's these ads on the radio now where they're trying to get people to start coming back down there. It's like, a lot of the businesses have left, and it's still not the place you would want to bring your family necessarily. But yeah, I just kind of find it funny that they have all these ads like, oh, downtown Portland, it's great, come check it out, look at the shops and things, bring your kids. Yeah, we've kind of got a bit of a reputation over the last few years for assorted unpleasantness down there, in case you hadn't heard. Yeah, these roads are pretty littered with tree garbage. Like I always say, trees are slobs. You ever run around in the forest? The floor is disgusting. They just throw all their garbage everywhere. Alright, we're about 90 minutes into this voyage. Been alright so far. Gotta pick up some pellets now. Alright, now we're waiting here for the loading dock. I'm only getting 6 bags of pellets this time. I was driving the green van over here, but it started running really bad again, and where the bus is at, I have the van parked behind the bus, and there's a massive mud hole there. So I don't even know if I can get my chair into that van right now until the rain and flooding stops. So I'm just gonna have to get 6 bags at a time and have them thrown on the floor in the back here. I wish I had a place to store, you know, like a whole pallet of these things. Because, you know, if I could get a ton of these things, literally like 2,000 pounds, That would last me most of the winter. But something about the using the hands of lemonade that you're dealt or something, I don't know. However that goes. Holy weather, Batman. I guess in Portland the wind has started subsiding, but I'm a good hour outside of town here. Alright, we got our pellets in the back. Oh, now I've got to figure out how to get back to where I'm going. Let me check the Waze thing here. The Waze. Sound like I'm 100 years old. Yeah, check the Waze. The main road I use is closed. It's the road, well, it was earlier. Actually, this says it's open. All right, maybe they got the tree cleaned up. Because if I don't take that route, I have to cross a highway, and it's like sketch factor 5,000. Let's not back into this propane tank. According to the map, it's open, so we shall see. Oh, and there goes some pellets. Alright. That is the problem with stacking these up inside this van, is sometimes they fall over. As long as the stack behind me doesn't fall over, it's not too big of a deal. But, yeah, let's go real easy on the brakes here. Oh boy, I'm having to dodge tree branches falling through here. I wonder if there's still power at the bus. Huh. Guess that's another good reason to have solar. Yeah, it looks like the road's open. Sweet.
If you're making your way up to Vancouver from the West Metro area, plan on some extra minutes this afternoon. That's a 25-minute commute from the Zoo Bridge up to SR 14, an extra 13 minutes. Also slow coming in from the Banfield.
Now we got to deal with this somehow. Let's see. I think I can recline my chair, maybe. Oh yeah, I think we're good. It's up on my, one of them's up on my back tire, so I can kind of grab it, I think. Oh, please don't rip open. Okay. We'll recline. Let's move this one first. Oh man, they all slid back. Luckily, I don't need to carry any of these in right now, so that's a problem for future me. Ugh. I'll just grab my bag and go inside. Yay! It's a little bit windy out here. I don't know what I'm going to do about that. Certainly out of my reach. Well, yet another thing on the checklist for future me. So, all that being said, a few things I want to clarify here. So, this is kind of a I was going to say one-off, kind of an odd scenario. The only issue is, the reason I'm having to lean into this is my living situation here in this bus in the middle of nowhere is not possible unless I'm able to drive. Like, no questions about it. It, like, ain't gonna happen. Now, I've been on the other side of the body camera, so I understand how a lot of that stuff works, and I have a great deal of respect for the people that are still willing to do that job in 2022. Don't read into that. I'm just saying my thoughts here. That in mind, I am respectful of what is going on, but at the same time, a certain point gets crossed to where I have to lean into this. So, the events of today, I went down there and reset my court date, which that just had to happen, so I have time to deal with lawyers. But two, the slightly sharpened stick that I'm now poking with is attempting to requisition, I don't know if it's body cam or dash cam, there is camera footage that was recorded of the traffic stop. There's questionable things about the traffic stop and how it was initiated. that's something for the lawyers to deal with. But by me requesting that, that is basically sending a message more than anything else. I am pretty sure that this footage doesn't exist anymore. Or, well, we'll just leave it at that. I put in the request, and they're going to call me back and let me know within a couple of days, and then I have to pay a fee, and then they mail me a flash drive or a DVD, or I don't know how it works exactly. But what that does is say, hey, look, I'm getting my ducks in a row here. If we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. In the sense that I'm gonna fight this in court. Again, all respect and everything to the job that this officer is doing, but at a certain point when I mean, I don't want to play the pandemic card and like the disability card, but like, this is going to affect the way I'm able to live. So, I'm sorry, gotta lean into it. I'm still gonna be respectful and nice and everything, but I don't know what else to do here. So, I don't normally get antsy about stuff like this, but I'm already having to deal with the, I'm not saying like it's having to deal with my living situation. Living in this bus is not terrible, but it's a lot of work. And my mind is highly preoccupied with making sure stuff in here doesn't freeze, you know, trying to figure out how to do laundry and schedule showers and just basic stuff, because I still don't have the plumbing in here yet. So I'm already preoccupied with all that. Never mind all of the health related stuff and everything having to do with my disability and all that stuff that's going on right now. So this one little thing that is potentially going to make everything explode, I'm having a hard time ignoring this, in the sense that ignoring it for now, since there isn't anything I can do about it right at this exact moment, file it away for later and deal with it then. I'm having a hard time making my brain do that right now. So, like I said at the beginning of the video, you know, life as it happens, no sugar added. Other than that, I'm doing all right. You know, I'm happy it's not super cold outside. The rain and the wind is kind of a thing, but whatever, that comes and goes around here. So anyways, that was my day. I'm still in a good mood. I'm just, I don't know. I think you get the idea. So anyways, this is what I was capable of today as far as making a video. So hopefully you enjoyed. Yeah, I'm finished drinking some more coffee, and I'll just pour that in my lap. I'm gonna drink some more coffee, and then I'm gonna go make some food. I hate it when people say this, but is what it is. You gotta do what you gotta do. Lemons and lemonade and hands of cards you're dealt and all that stuff. Anyways, I'm gonna shut up. I'll see you guys in a few days. Thanks for watching.